Welcome, everybody, to The COVID Conspiracy by Sean Kirkpatrick. Interior, sub-basement, unknown. We are in a bare concrete room in the dark. In the center of the room, we can barely make out the figure of a man tied to the chair. There is a metallic chunk, and two lights turn on to illuminate the man. Duke Knuckles, a muscle-strapped, handsome, former special agent, blinks awake. He is disoriented.
What? What the fuck?
A door creaks open, and two mountainous goons enter the room. Goon 1 is carrying an electric cattle prod. Goon 2 is carrying a camera on a tripod. Duke looks at the two goons.
Back for more, huh? I didn't peg you two as a couple of sadists. Not to kink shame or nothing.
The goons share a "get a load of this joker" look. Goon 2 sets up the camera. It beeps to indicate that Duke is now streaming live for someone's enjoyment. Goon 1 approaches Duke slowly.
You should have brought a couple more guys if you wanted it to be a fair fight.
Goon 1 suddenly shocks Duke with the electric cattle prod. Electricity crackles as it fries Duke's skin.
Snozberries! Snozberries!
Goon 1 lets out a chuckle.
Listen, fellas. If you're not gonna respect my safe word, I don't think this relationship is gonna work out.
Goon 1 zaps Duke again.
What did I just say?
The goons share a "God, he's a moron" look. A cell phone rings. Goon 2 answers, and we can hear a muffled male voice on the other end.
Hey, what's the voltage on that cattle prod?
Goon 2 holds up a finger and looks at Duke with a "shut the fuck up, I'm on the phone" face. Duke is wriggling a little bit in his seat.
9 volts? 12?
Goon 2 gives Duke a "what the fuck did I just say" look, while still listening to the phone. Duke wriggles a little bigger.
I'm just wondering, because that thing really smarts.
Goon 2 looks to Goon 1. His eyes say, "Will you shut this asshole up, please?" Duke does one sharp wiggle. Goon 1 approaches Duke, cattle prod outstretched.
Look, I don't like to kill anyone if it can be avoided. So I just want to make sure you'll survive when I shove this up your ass.
Duke breaks free of the rope tying him to the chair just as Goon 1 attempts to jab him with the cattle prod. Duke snatches it from the goon's hand with his left hand and punches Goon 1 in the face with his right fist. Duke spins the cattle prod around and slams it up Goon 1's butt. There is a loud rip, squish, and zap sound as Goon 1 lets out a yell and falls to the floor. Goon 2 charges Duke, dropping the phone. We can hear a muffled voice yelling on the other end. Duke and Goon 2 grapple. Goon 2 punches Duke in the side. Duke kicks at Goon 2, misses, and knocks over a light which begins to flicker. The strobe-like effect makes this fight scene even more badass. Goon 2 tackles Duke to the ground. The two begin rolling around the concrete floor, attempting to pin each other. The two men grunt and thrust, dripping with sweat in a battle for their very lives. It is weirdly erotic. Goon 2 pins Duke and begins choking him. Duke flails his arms out, looking for something, anything. His fingers brush against the leg of the camera tripod. Duke yanks the camera down and begins smashing it against the side of Goon 2's head. Point of view shot, live stream camera smashing into Goon 2's head. Goon 2 collapses off Duke, but Duke keeps smashing. A little too long, if you ask me. Duke stops. He is breathing heavily. He looks around at the two goons who are both very likely dead. He spots the cell phone and he approaches it. He picks it up and holds it to his ear. We can hear that the line is still active.
Listen to me, you sick son of a bitch. I know who you are. I know what you're doing. I know you think you're invincible. You're not. You saw what I did to your goons? Well, I'm gonna do that to your face 10 times over. You better watch your back, buckaroo. I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you hard.
A moment. We can hear breathing on the other end of the line. A click as the caller hangs up. Suddenly, footsteps can be heard running down the hall. Duke looks up to see 5 more goons come charging into the room. Zoom in on Duke. Duke cracks his neck.
Right on cue.
He rushes at the goons. Freeze frame. Sound effects. Record scratch.
Yep, that sweaty mass of ass-kicking muscle is me. Now I bet you're wondering how I got myself into yet another sticky situation without any goo gone. Well, it's a bit of a funny story. So let's rewind a little bit, huh? All the way back to December 2019.
Cross dissolve. Title, December 2019, Towns Creek, USA. Music, Send Me On My Way by Rusted Root. Exterior, Towns Creek, day. Various aerial shots of Towns Creek, a medium-sized city with no discernible connections to any state. It is peak Americana, but with more ethnic diversity. In fact, it feels like it was developed by a focus group to be sure to represent everyone and offend no one. This is the pinnacle of tokenism. As we fly across Towns Creek, we see a variety of scenes of domestic life on a perfect early summer day. A woman walking her dog past a house where a man is mowing his lawn. The two wave. The man's husband brings him a glass of lemonade. A mixed-race couple walking into a grocery store walk past a woman in a wheelchair who accidentally drops a couple apples. A woman in a hijab picks them up and gives them to the woman in the wheelchair. A rabbi, a priest, and a Sikh guru walk down the street arm in arm and turn to enter a bar named Pickle Juice. Out front is a large banner that reads, "You must be this trans to enter," with a bunch of smiling cartoon faces. I think that checks most boxes. Finally, we fly across the town square where may or may not, a portly fellow with a large mustache, stands behind a stage with his identical looking but mustache-free wife, Mrs. May Not. With them is Lydia Bean, who looks exactly like every other beauty pageant winner in the history of beauty pageants. Duke Knuckles comes jogging up the path towards the Maynots and Lydia.
Sorry I'm late. Work meeting ran long.
Not to worry, my good boy. Miss Lydia Bean here was keeping us entertained.
She was just telling us how in love you two are.
Oh, is that so?
Well,
She smiles coquettishly, and Duke embraces her, planting a loving kiss on her lips.
Oh, remember when we were like that, Harold?
Come, we'll be late for the ceremony. It's not every day we get to crown our New Year's queen.
no, but it is the 8th year in a row the town has picked me.
New Year's Queen is basically a glorified pageant winner. And I can't think of anyone more beautiful than you.
They kiss again.
Oh, Harold.
Yes, toot sweet and all that.
The four take to the stage where they are greeted by a large crowd of Towns Creek citizens. They applaud as May or May Not takes to the podium and the other three take their seats.
Good afternoon, Towns Creekians. Thank you for braving this December weather to come see the crowning of the New Year's queen.
The audience applauds politely.
And it is with great confidence that I can declare that this year will be the greatest New Year's celebration in the history of Towns Creek.
The audience applauds and cheers.
But you're not here for me. So now, without further ado, may I introduce you to Lydia Bean, our New Year's queen.
The audience applauds wildly.
Thank you, Mayor Maynot, and thank you, fellow citizens of Towns Creek, for electing me your New Year's Queen 8 years in a row.
The audience is really losing their shit.
This New Year's is incredibly special. As we say goodbye to 2019, we are leaving behind not just 12 months, but 10 years. 2020 is a new decade, a decade of hope, of dreams, and a decade of love. I would not be in the position I am in today without the support of my loving boyfriend, Duke Knuckles.
Duke waves gently to the audience. Following, as Lydia speaks, a person in a dark hoodie is making their way through the crowd, coughing without covering their mouth. We can see droplets of spit and phlegm fly out and land on audience members who make way for the coughing stranger.
Get up here, Duke.
Duke stands next to Lydia.
Duke, would you do me the honor
Lydia drops to one knee and pulls out a wedding ring box.
of making me the happiest woman in all of Towns Creek?
Yes, 1,000,000 times, yes.
Lydia slips the ring on Duke's finger. She stands to embrace him and the two kiss as the audience goes wild. The coughing stranger has made their way to the front of the crowd and is also joining in the celebration. Slow motion, droplets of spit and phlegm flying from the coughing stranger's mouth and hands, landing on surfaces and people in a truly disgusting manner. Lydia and Duke turn to address the crowd, waving, smiling, and in love.
Happy New Year, Towns Creek!
The audience cheers.
We love you, Lydia.
The coughing stranger coughs and, super slow motion, a piece of phlegm flies from the coughing stranger's mouth, and we follow it as it arcs through the air before making a splash landing in Lydia's open mouth. The crowd cheers and dissipates, the coughing stranger lost in the throng. May or May Not turns to greet Lydia and Duke.
Me, oh my, you sure do know how to work a crowd.
Lydia has suddenly turned pale and sickly.
Lydia, are you okay?
Lydia, sweetheart, what's wrong?
I don't know. I don't feel so good.
Lydia collapses into Duke's arms. Smash cut 2, interior, Towns Creek General Hospital, moments later. Lydia is on a gurney being rushed down a hallway. She is surrounded by various doctors, nurses, etc., with Duke chasing after her.
Lydia, can you hear me?
Lydia is white as a ghost. Her nose is crusty and leaking, and she can't stop coughing. Various medical machines are beeping and whirring like mad.
We're losing her!
They rush Lydia into an ER exam room where Dr. Natalie Fatality, a sexy female doctor who is totally one of the boys, is looking at a chart. Duke rushes in close behind.
Damn it. What's the sitch?
Obtrusive phlegm buildup, hacking cough, and acute respiratory failure.
Damn it. What happened?
I don't know. She was being crowned New Year's Queen and everything was fine. But then suddenly...
Lydia starts hacking up large globs of phlegm.
Suddenly she was like this.
Damn it. This was supposed to be the third case in a row today of a sudden onset disease. We could be looking at something heretofore unseen. I'm going to ask everyone to leave the room. Nurse, get me a hazmat suit.
On it.
Duke is ushered out of the room by a couple of burly orderlies. He tries to protest, but they lead him away. Through the windows of the door, we can see an astronaut's helmet being placed on Natalie's head. Transition to interior hospital waiting room, later. Duke is pacing back and forth. May or may not and his wife are sitting nearby, reading a paper. On one of the TVs is a news show where President Trump, a bulbous mass of wet orange flesh and President of the United States, is being interviewed. He seems to be adjusting his tie more than usual.
Listen, Anderson, baby, the reports are fake, okay? There's no threat, no problem, okay? We have it handled. Whatever's going on in China is a China issue, okay? America first, period.
Does he seem sweatier than usual?
Dr. Natalie Fatality enters. She is somber.
Doc, oh thank God.
Duke,
No,
I'm so sorry.
no.
We tried everything we could, but her sickness, it's just...
No, it's not possible.
I'm sorry, Duke. She's gone.
I have to see her.
Duke pushes past Natalie and rushes down the hall.
Duke, no, we don't know what this disease is yet.
Duke races down the hall, blowing past nurses, orderlies, and Patch Adams. He bursts into Lydia's room to find an empty bed.
Fridged.
Duke turns around to see an orderly standing in the doorway.
What?
Fridged. She's been fridged. We fridged her.
Natalie comes jogging up behind the orderly.
Thank you, Nick. Duke, we had to put Lydia's body in a cold storage facility. Her illness, it was unlike anything we had seen before. We could be looking at a new pandemic if we don't contain this virus.
My God.
Here, take a look.
She leads him over to a counter where a microscope is hooked up to a screen. She pulls out a glass slide out of her pocket.
This is a sample of a healthy human lung tissue.
The screen displays an example of perfect lung tissue. Natalie removes the slide.
And this is a sample of Lydia's lungs from moments ago.
She slips the slide into the microscope. The screen displays a disgusting figure of blackened and charred lung tissue.
And if we enhance...
She twists a knob on the microscope and the image zooms in. What appears to be little cotton balls are swirling around the capillaries of the lung.
What am I looking at, Doc?
It appears to be a new type of virus, the likes of which we've never seen in humans before. Enhance.
She twists the knob again and the image zooms in even more. The little cotton balls are now large, sinister orbs covered in spikes that are slicing and dicing the tissue around them.
My God.
Natalie shuts off the microscope and pockets the sample of Lydia's lung.
I'm glad I was here to discover this. When I was in school in Boston, I studied virology and contagionomy. In fact, I have my doctorates in both of those fields.
So you're saying...
I might be the best woman alive to stop this mystery illness.
How fortuitous. I happen to know the current director of the World Health Organization. We were stationed in Gobzuana together.
Gobzuana?
Duke turns away and looks out the window.
I used to work for the CIA as a covert operative, part of the Ranger Squadron. We handled the most sensitive and dangerous of international cases.
He stares off in the middle distance as we ripple to exterior, the jungles of Gabswana, night. Flashback, Duke and Justin in the jungles of Gabswana. They are both sweaty and filthy dirty, wearing ripped tanks and camo pants. Duke carries a large automatic rifle and Justin has 2 handguns.
My partner Justin and I were sent to Gabswana to assassinate the dictator. He had recently executed every redhead in the country, all 12 of them, and had been found guilty of crimes against humanity in a secret trial at the UN.
Duke and Justin break through the underbrush to a large clearing where they see the dictator's compound. It is a fortress guarded by a small army.
He was holed up in a fortress, deep in the Gabswana jungles, guarded by a small army.
Duke and Justin stop and share a look. They perform a series of intricate hand gestures to communicate their plan of action. They charge the compound. Duke and Justin open fire. They shoot down the guards along the top of the outer wall. They dodge bullets left and right. Explosions go off as the guards hurl grenades. Justin catches one midair and throws it at a wall. It explodes, giving the men an opening into the compound. They leap through the hole in the wall and time slows. They let an obscene amount of bullets fly as they arc through the air and land majestically in the inner courtyard. A moment. Suddenly, another round of guards comes swarming out of the building. They encircle Justin and Duke.
Just like in Paris.
Ha! Just like in Paris?
Justin nods. Duke leaps into the air, a beautiful backflip over Justin's head. As he is upside down directly above Justin, the 2 men open fire and begin to spin, taking out the guards. Duke twists counterclockwise in the air, and Justin pirouettes clockwise on the ground. The guards drop dead. Duke lands on the ground. A guard squirms and Justin shoots him.
You didn't miss in Paris.
Duke shoots him a look and the 2 men enter the building. It is a large mansion and everything is quiet. Duke and Justin creep forward into the grand hall where a lone figure is sitting at the end of a large table. It is the dictator, a small man with a large scar over his right eye. He begins a slow clap. He speaks with an accent of undeterminable origin.
Excellent work, gentlemen, though I would expect nothing less from America's finest. Tell me, do you enjoy the rush of the chase, the thrill of the kill? You'll get off leaving a path of the death and destruction in your wake.
By order of the United Nations, you've been found guilty of crimes against humanity.
The UN has no power here. This is my country, mine.
Not anymore.
He pulls out a shotgun and cocks it.
It was my fault.
From behind Justin, a figure emerges from the shadows, holding a gun. Justin doesn't notice, but Duke does.
We had walked right into a trap.
Slow motion. Duke rushes at Justin, who fires a shotgun at the same moment that the figure fires a gun. Justin's shotgun blast hits the dictator square in the chest, causing his entire torso to explode. As Duke tackles Justin to the ground, the bullet from the shadow hits Justin's spine with a deafening crack. Duke holds Justin in his arms as the shadow escapes. Fade to interior hospital room, same. Duke is staring out the window still.
Oh my God, that's horrible.
The doctor said it would be months of intense physical therapy before Justin could walk again.
Interior physical therapy room day. Justin is going through intense physical therapy. He can barely move his legs. Duke watches through a viewing window.
And what of the shadowy figure?
Flashback. Duke turns away from watching Justin.
I swore I would hunt him down, no matter the cost.
Exterior foreign outdoor market, evening. A sinister-looking man rounds a corner into an alley. Duke follows him. We see a shadow play. Duke confronts the shadow, who pulls a gun. Duke kicks it out of his hand and tackles him to the ground. He begins strangling the shadow, but it looks like he is fucking him missionary style. Both shadows duck out of sight, then Duke's shadow stands triumphant and reaches down to pull up the shadow's head. Blood and viscera drip, in shadow form, from the stump of his neck.
Finally, I could rest.
Fade to interior hospital room.
My God, you've certainly seen some things.
Whatever it takes, no matter the cost, I will avenge Lydia's death.
We will, Duke. We will trace this virus, we will avenge Lydia's death, and we will save the world from this potential pandemic.
It's not going to be easy.
I didn't make my name as the world's foremost expert on contagious diseases by doing things the easy way, Duke. Now take me to him. Take me to see Doctor just in case.
Duke and Natalie look determined. Upbeat, inspiring cinematic transition music. Star Wars Wipe 2, exterior, airport runway, moments later. Duke and Natalie are approaching a jet where a man, Kookaburra Carey, the pinnacle of Aussie stereotypes, stands waiting.
Good eye, Duke. We thought you was out of the game.
Me too, Kook. Me too.
And who's this fine Sheila?
Dr. Natalie Fatality. Pleasure.
They shake.
Kookaburra Carey. Oh, but me mates call me Kook. Duke and I used to serve together.
Natalie gives Duke a look.
I'll tell you about it on the plane.
They board. Sound effects, jet taking off. Fade to, interior, jet, later. Duke and Natalie are laughing. Kook is in the cockpit. It is the tail end of a story.
So Duke takes the koala and tosses it in the mulga pit, and then the bloody thing explodes. I had no idea it was a bomb meant to kill the Prime Minister. That's Buckley's chance he wasn't a bugger at that.
Natalie laughs so hard she keeps laughing.
Hey, Duke, toss me a coldie from the escape.
While you're flying?
Don't be a drongo, mate. A little Foster's never killed anybody. Unless he was a Glash, of course.
They all burst out laughing again. Duke goes to an igloo cooler on one of the seats and opens it. Inside are 3 ice-cold cans of Foster's beer. The shot implies that this is product placement, but actually we're just horny for Australian culture. Duke grabs 2 cans.
Catch!
He tosses it to Kook, who catches it expertly, cracks it open, and turns back to the jet's controls.
You want one?
Why not?
Duke tosses Natalie the other can. She catches it and cracks it open. Again, it looks like a commercial for Foster's, but they haven't paid a dime. Duke takes the last can for himself and cracks it open. His phone chirps. He pulls it out and looks at the screen.
Excuse me one moment.
He walks to the back of the jet, and we see that he has a new text from an unknown number.
We know what you're doing.
New text.
Stop it if you value your life.
New text.
Or hers.
Attached is a photo of Natalie, taken while she was working at the hospital. New text.
Or his.
Attached is a photo of Kook wrestling a crocodile while smoking a ciggy. Duke types a reply.
Who are you?
A moment. New text.
You should have stayed retired.
Duke looks confused. From the cockpit, alarms begin to go off and the emergency lights turn on. Everything is now in an eerie yellow glow, accented by flashes of red from the cockpit.
Looks like we've got a couple of bogeys. Buckle up!
Duke and Natalie take their seats on either side of the aisle and buckle in.
What's going on?
Not sure, but Kook's got it under control.
Exterior, jet. 2 missiles barrel towards the jet. Interior, the jet is rocking as Kook tries to outmaneuver the missiles.
Fuck me dead! Hang on!
Kook plunges the jet downwards and Duke and Natalie let out a little yelp.
Duke?
Kook's
Duke?
got it!
The jet lurches to the right, sending everything inside tumbling.
Duke?
Kook's got it!
Hold on to your bracket!
Exterior, one of the missiles shoots towards the jet, which barrel rolls out of the way. Interior, everything is topsy-turvy. Outside Natalie's window, we can see the missile fly by and explode in midair.
Duke!
Exterior, the second missile is headed directly towards the tail of the plane. It strikes the rear of the jet and explodes. Interior, jet. The explosion rips the back of the jet away and everything not buckled in or strapped down goes flying out the rear into the sky. The jet begins to lose altitude.
Kook doesn't got it.
You're gonna have to jump!
What?
Fair dinkum, mate. You have to jump!
He reaches under his seat and pulls out 2 parachutes. He lets go and they fly backwards directly into Duke and Natalie.
What about you?
I'll land this bad piece of piss! Promise!
Natalie looks at Duke.
Come with us!
Listen, mate. I've only got the 2 parachutes and we're right above Geneva, so just float down and find Justin. Give him the right wallop for me.
A moment as Duke takes it in. He stares at Kook, who gives him a nod. Natalie straps on her parachute and begins making her way to the hole at the end of the jet.
See you in another life, brother.
See you in another life, brother.
on!
Duke doesn't want to look away. Cook holds his gaze as the music swells to a final goodbye.
Well, piss off!
Duke smiles with sadness in his eyes. Cook finally looks away. Natalie stands at the open end of the plane, flames and torn metal frame her against the rising Swiss sun. Duke charges towards her and leaps out the back of the jet. Natalie follows quickly behind, and we fall from the sky with them. Exterior, sky. Duke and Natalie are free falling through the air. The rushing wind is the only thing we hear as the two tumble and twist through the sky. They are struggling to find up from down, left from right, tip from taint. Behind them, we can see the flaming jet plummet from the sky, but it is quickly lost in the confusion. Natalie is the first to right herself. She is sprawled out like an expert diver, ready to deploy or shoot, but Duke is still having issues. He is farther down from her, and she streamlines her fall towards him. As Duke tumbles, Natalie attempts to grab one of his limbs to right him, but ends up tangled up with him. They are falling faster now, with the ground quickly approaching. Just as it seems they are about to meet an untimely demise, Natalie is able to right herself and Duke. They rip the cords on their parachute. Their falls are immediately slowed by two giant chutes bearing the Foster's logo. They drift gracefully to the ground, landing in the middle of a picturesque street in Geneva, Switzerland. Duke turns to the rising sun and salutes. Natalie turns around to take stock of their surroundings and realizes they are right outside of exterior WHO headquarters, a beautiful steel and glass building with a large sign reading World Health Organization Global Headquarters.
Well, that's convenient.
Duke turns to meet her and, this is a big typo that I did here. Duke turns to meet her and they take off their chutes.
What are you waiting for?
She drops her chute and follows him inside. Interior, WHO headquarters lobby. Despite being early in the morning, the lobby of the WHO is bustling. Various doctors in lab coats make their way to and from meetings. People in business attire greet guests. Security guards stand alert. Duke and Natalie make their way to the check-in desk.
Guten Morgen. Welcome to the WHO. Do you have an appointment?
Yes, we're here to see Dr. Case. It's very urgent. We believe...
Damn, Duke Knuckles, you son of a bitch!
Duke and Natalie turn around to see Dr. Justin Case, director of the WHO. He has aged since Duke last saw him and now walks with a cane and a slight limp. He makes his way quickly towards the check-in counter.
I knew that was you.
Duke and Justin embrace.
It's been too long, old friend.
What brings you to my neck of the Alps?
Dr. Case, hi, hello. I am Dr. Natalie Fatality. First of all, a huge fan. I love everything that you've done here at the WHO. Seriously, who knew the diseases could be so sexy?
Justin and Natalie shake hands.
Well, a pleasure to make your acquaintance. Always glad to meet a fan. Duke, how's Lydia?
Duke suddenly turns pale.
Actually, Dr. Case, that's why we're here.
She's dead, Justin.
Oh, my.
We believe she died from a new type of virus that has the potential to wipe out hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people.
The lobby falls silent and everyone stares at Natalie. Justin looks rattled.
Not here, my office, quickly.
He ushers them down a hallway. Interior, Justin's office, moments later. Natalie is standing in front of a large screen which is displaying the sample of Lydia's infected lung. The sinister orbs float by behind her head. Duke and Justin sit in chairs, having watched her presentation.
What you're describing sounds like a novel coronavirus. Something never before encountered by humankind.
In layman's terms, Doc?
A coronavirus is the same type of virus as the cold or the flu. It targets the respiratory system. The virus uses these spikes, to rip open cells and insert its own DNA. The viral cells then replicate, eating away at the healthy tissue and overwhelming your body's immune system. Eventually, your lungs liquefy as the virus grows inside of you.
Dumb it down a bit.
Okay. Virus make you go dead.
Duke gasps.
No!
This matches reports we've been getting out of Eastern China.
Justin stands up and goes to his desk. He clicks his mouse, and the screen behind Natalie changes to a map of China dated November 3rd, 2019. A couple red dots are spattered around an area marked Wuhan.
While our data is limited, we've heard of quickly falling ill with similar symptoms, coughing, sneezing, and eventually complete respiratory failure.
Justin clicks again and the map begins to shift. The red dots spread and grow, quickly multiplying as the date ticks by the days, stopping at December 24th, 2019.
We've been applying what pressure we can, but the Chinese government is, well, you know.
He clicks again and the video screen he clicks again and a video screen appears of Xi Jinping, President of the People's Republic of China, at a press conference. He speaks in Chinese, but it is subtitled.
Reports are fake, okay? There's no threat, no problem, okay? We have it handled. There's no dangerous sickness, no new disease. The cold is common this time of year, and sadly, many enemies to the party wish to spread falsified information. We are strong, always. No illness, no threat.
The video ends.
To confirm my suspicions, however, we would need more samples of an infected individual.
Natalie reaches into her pocket and pulls out several vials of various liquids.
Will these work?
Oh my God.
What? Never hurts to be prepared.
That just might do. Quickly, to the lab!
They rush to the lab. Music, upbeat, tense score. Interior, various. A montage of Justin and Natalie analyzing the various samples harvested from Lydia. Peering into microscopes, looking at subterfuges, transferring liquids from one beaker to another. Duke just sort of hanging out in the background. Natalie points at something on a screen. Justin furrows his brow. Natalie dictating something while Justin types. Duke bringing them lunch. Justin leaning back and taking off his safety goggles. Natalie nodding in approval. They've done it. Interior, Justin's office, days later. Justin pulls a report off his printer labeled A Comprehensive Study of the Novel Coronavirus COVID-19, Top Secret, Double Classified, For Your Eyes Only, and places it in a locked briefcase, which he hands to Duke.
Listen, we have a special contact embedded in a country close to China. They've also been studying this mysterious disease. Take this to her. You will find her at the Cafe Didgeridoo in Perth.
Australia? Oh my. Justin, with all the excitement, we forgot to tell you. We don't have a pilot.
No?
On the flight over, we were attacked, and Kook was...
I was what, mate?
Duke and Natalie turn around to see Kook leaning in the doorway of Justin's office, cool as a cucumber, or should I say, cucumber.
Kook, you're alive!
How?
You see?
Ripple 2, interior, jet, days earlier. Kook is in the cockpit of the jet, and we see Duke and Natalie leap out the tail end. Kook looks determined. He closes his eyes, embracing his fate.
It's been one hell of a ride.
He is ready to die. The jet plummets from the sky, quickly approaching the Alps.
Oi! Hold on a tick.
He punches a panel next to him. It opens, revealing another parachute.
Righto!
He puts it on and jumps in the air, curling himself into a little ball. He soars out the open hole in the back of the jet. The jet drops, crashing into a mountaintop, exploding in a glorious blaze of fire. Kook pulls the cord. His parachute unfurls, revealing the Australian flag. He glides down, landing on a beautiful ridge. He looks around.
No wakas.
Kook turns around to see a beautiful Swiss maid standing outside a picturesque cottage.
Crikey! I'm not one to turn down a fine Sheila.
He makes his way to her. They go into the cottage. We can see their silhouettes through a window as they kiss, then drop to the floor. A moment. Kook exits the cottage, lipstick on his face, zipping up his shorts. The Swiss maid is behind him, waving him off and completely satisfied.
You're a fine ripper.
She gestures to a pair of skis.
Oh, thanks, love.
He puts them on and skis down the slope towards Geneva. Ripple 2, interior, Justin's office, now.
What can I say? I've always been a root rot.
Justin, Duke, and Natalie are bemused.
Now, where are we headed this time?
Sound effects, jet in flight. Exterior, the Outback, day. Beautiful aerial shots of an open Jeep Wrangler making its way through the dusty Australian outback. Cook is driving with Natalie in the passenger seat. Duke sits in the back, taking it all in. They whiz past ranchers herding sheep with a couple blue heelers. They drive past a court of kangaroos leaping across the bush. Natalie waves at a roo in a pouch who waves back. A flock of red-backed kingfishers dance and swoop above their heads. They pass a watering hole where feral camels, wallabies, dingoes, buzzards, field lizards, and other creatures of the outback are together in a moment of peace and harmony. It is breathtaking. As they approach the outskirts of Perth, a flock of emus run alongside the Jeep. Duke reaches to pet one, but it pecks at him. They drive into the city on a road that runs along the sea. In the sea, we can see a pod of humpback whales breaching, leaping out from the sea. Welcome to Australia. Exterior, the Didgeridoo Cafe. Day. Cook pulls up to the Didgeridoo Cafe, a busy cafe in the heart of Perth. Natalie and Duke exit the car and look around.
Crikey, I'm starving.
Cook makes a beeline for an empty table.
Do we know what our contact looks like?
Not a clue.
They take a seat with Cook. They wait. Time passes. A waiter approaches them.
G'day! Still waiting on one more. Are you ready to order?
Yes, we're waiting for someone.
Oi! I'll have a croc-sanger.
Natalie shoots him a look.
Just a water, please.
Righto.
They wait some more. Time passes. The waiter returns with 3 Fosters and Cook's sandwich. Duke goes to ask for a water, but the waiter walks away. They wait some more. Time passes. Based on the sun, it has been several hours.
That's it. I'm calling it. Something must have happened to Justin's contact.
You don't think he intentionally sent us on a wild goose chase, do you?
Crikey, geese are nasty buggers.
Natalie scans the patrons at the cafe. She spots someone who seems to be doing the same. Their eyes meet. The other woman gives a knowing nod.
Oh, wait.
The woman gets up and makes her way across the patio. She is in a dark trench coat and sunglasses to conceal her identity.
That her?
Likely.
The woman makes her way to the table and takes a seat. She has a New Zealand accent.
Dr. Natalie Fatality and Duke Knuckles, I presume?
They nod. Cook waves.
Kookaburra, Gary!
Natalie and Duke look hesitant.
I believe Justin told you about me.
You're the high-level government contact?
That's right. I'm
She removes her large sunglasses, allowing us to see her face.
Jacinda Ardern.
A beat.
Who?
The Prime Minister of New Zealand?
Crikey!
My God. I knew Justin had friends in high places, but...
Listen, I don't have much time. I fear I may have been followed. Do you have the report?
Duke pulls out the briefcase and hands it to Jacinda. She cuffs it to her wrist and turns to Natalie.
I understand you were instrumental in the creation of this report, and I cannot thank you enough. While the world will never know your name, you can rest easy knowing that millions, if not billions of lives will have been saved. Thank you, Dr. Fatality. Thank you.
My pleasure.
The two share a tender moment. Cook makes the leave.
Righto! We should be moving out lickety-squat.
Oh, one more thing before you leave.
Anything.
Cinda pulls out a small USB drive from her jacket pocket.
Please, take this to the White House. It contains footage from the front lines of the coronavirus. We lost many a good Kiwis to smuggle this out. If anyone can do it, I know it will be you.
She hands the drive to Natalie. Cook and Duke salute Jacinda. Behind her, the waiter returns.
Oi, leaving already? But you haven't settled your tab.
The waiter whips out a gun and attempts to shoot Jacinda, but misses. Her reflexes are quick. She grabs the waiter's arm and pulls him down, slamming his head into the table.
Go! Run!
Duke, Natalie, and Cook rush to the Jeep as 3 goons come charging out of the cafe, brandishing guns. At a nearby table, 2 tourists stand, drawing guns, revealing themselves to be Jacinda's security detail. Cook starts the Jeep as Duke and Natalie dive in the back. As they drive off, a gunfight at the cafe plays out. Jacinda is sprinting towards a vehicle, chased by one of the goons who fires at her. She ducks, swinging around and cracking his head open with the briefcase. The tourists are firing at the remaining goons as citizens run, screaming. The Jeep rounds a corner and the cafe is out of sight. Interior, Jeep. Duke and Natalie are out of breath and sitting very close together in the back of the Jeep. They turn to look at each other and then quickly scoot apart. Cook notices something in the rearview mirror.
Duke, we've got company!
Duke and Natalie whip around to see a black SUV barreling towards them. Kook begins weaving through traffic, gaining speed. He's narrowly avoiding cars, but it appears to be rush hour in Perth. The SUV is close on their tail. Kook takes a hard right, causing Natalie to flip over the side of the Jeep. She barely catches herself, but she is now outside of the vehicle in the middle of a high-speed chase, hanging on for dear life.
Hang on!
You think?
Duke scrambles across the seat and pulls her back in. Suddenly, bullets ricochet off the side of the Jeep. Duke and Natalie drop down, and Kook begins to swerve the Jeep more erratically.
Crack the shits!
A goon is leading out of the SUV, firing wildly at the Jeep.
Hang on!
He takes a hard left, sending the Jeep flying through downtown Perth along Swan River.
Kook, we need cover!
Under the seat. There should be.
Natalie pulls up an RPG and aims at the SUV.
Righto!
Natalie aims.
Take the shot!
Holding.
The SUV is getting closer.
What are you waiting for? Take the shot!
Not quite.
The SUV is about 3 cars away.
Do it!
And then there is a break in traffic. The SUV is alone in the road and Natalie fires.
Perfect!
A rocket flies at the SUV, hitting it square in the grille. The front of the vehicle explodes. The SUV flips over forward and lands on its side to reveal an identical SUV behind it, but this one with 3 goons hanging out various windows with weapons drawn.
Shit!
Not to worry. I've got a skimmer tucked away. Nearly there.
Kook takes a sharp right down a narrow alley. Behind them, we see the SUV whiz past.
And there she is.
Straight in front of them, the alley opens up into the docks outside the bell tower. Sitting at the end of the dock is an orange seaplane with "The Budgie Smugglers" printed on it in big block letters.
Kook, you son of a bitch. I knew we could count on you.
As they rush towards the end of the alley, the SUV pulls up, blocking the exit. Kook has no time to slow down.
Shit.
Get down!
Natalie stands with the reloaded RPG and takes aim. Just as the Jeep is about to smash into the SUV, she fires. The rocket hits the SUV dead on, ripping it in half, and the Jeep plows through the fireball. Kook drives down the dock up to the seaplane. They leap out of the Jeep. Kook hops in and fires up the plane. Duke grabs the last of their belongings from the Jeep as Natalie looks back at her handiwork.
I didn't know you knew how to operate one of those.
Beep.
Me neither.
They board the plane and fly off. Transition to exterior, sky, various. Shots of the plane in flight headed back to the U.S. It buzzes over Washington, D.C. and makes a perfect landing in the Potomac. Exterior, the White House. Triumphant and patriotic music plays as Duke, Natalie, and Kook are escorted by Secret Service agents into the White House, where Jared Kushner, a sniveling worm of a man, and Ivanka Trump, a withered waif, stand waiting for them.
Our heroes arrive at last.
Daddy would like to see you.
Jared and Ivanka escort the trio through the halls of the West Wing to the Oval Office. Much fanfare greets them as Ivanka opens the door to reveal the gelatinous mound of flesh known as Donald Trump, sitting at the Resolute desk. Trump spins around in his chair to face them.
I believe you have something for me.
Yes, Mr. President, sir.
They approach his desk.
That is the proper way to address the president. I like that. I like you.
Natalie pulls out the USB drive.
Thank you, sweetheart. And can I say, legs for days.
She reluctantly hands him the drive.
Thank you for your effort. You made your country proud. You know the rest. Did you see me on Hannity? The highest ratings they'd had in 5 months. 5.
No, we were in Australia, risking our lives to bring you this information.
Trump squints, turns to Kook.
I don't like her.
Sir, that drive has important information about virus that has the potential to decimate the country.
Sure, the Gina virus.
With all due respect, Mr. President, we...
Rest assured that I will do everything in my power to keep America great, okay? And I have tremendous power. Huge, beautiful, big power, okay?
Duke, Natalie, and Kook are stunned.
That'll be all. You did it. You can go home.
Duke, Natalie, and Kook go to leave.
Oh, and be sure to watch Hannity tonight. I'm calling in.
A moment.
Well, bye.
Exterior, White House, moments later. The metal gates of the White House slam close behind Duke, Natalie, and Kook.
Righto, well, that's settled then.
I guess. Felt a bit anticlimactic.
He does know what to do with that information, right?
Someone does. I'm sure they'll do the right thing. I mean, it's the federal government of America, for Christ's sake. We're the world's preeminent superpower. What could possibly go wrong?
Sudden cut to black. We sit in the darkness for just a hair too long. Title, 3 months later. Various actual shots of the world in March 2020 play under the Queen's speech. Here are some examples. The sun shines over an eerily empty Los Angeles. A lone car drives down the interstate. In Chicago, the river is empty. It is as if the entire population has left. In New York, rats scurry down large roads that once carried thousands of vehicles. Not a person to be found. The scaffolding around Big Ben shields the clock face from viewing the deserted streets around Parliament. Russia's Red Square is empty, save for 2 people walking quickly, both wearing face masks. And so on, until we reveal at the end of the speech that we are watching the Queen deliver this address on TV.
I'm speaking to you at what I know is an increasingly challenging time. A time of disruption in the life of our country. A disruption that has brought grief to some, financial difficulties to many, and enormous changes to the daily lives of us all. Together we are tackling this disease, and I want to reassure you that if we remain united and resolute, then we will overcome it. While we have faced challenges before, this one is different. This time we join with all nations across the globe in a common endeavor, using the great advances of science and our instinctive compassion to heal. We will succeed, and that success will belong to every one of us. We should take comfort that while we may have more still to endure, better days will return. We will be with our friends again. We will be with our families again. We will meet again. But for now, I send my thanks and warmest good wishes to you all.
It cuts to the BBC News desk, where an anchor in a mask addresses the camera.
Heartfelt words from Her Royal Majesty. We take you now to Downing Street, where Prime Minister Boris Johnson offers his own address to the kingdom.
Cuts to Boris Johnson, a man who looks like the rotten corpse of a walrus in a cheap toupee, outside his residence. He is barely dressed and appears to be quite sick. He struggles to breathe, his voice is hoarse, and he has a terrible cough. The news chyron reads, Bojo says no-ho to Kobo Wopo.
Well, you heard it from Her Majesty, didn't you? Virus this, that, and pish-posh. Righto then. Not much more for me to say. Just stay inside. Or don't. What do I care? Do what you want. We have civil freedoms, don't we?
Mr. Johnson, is it true you visited sick patients without any protective gear?
Protective gear? Bloody hell, I've never been one to wash me hands, let alone wear gloves. And what for? I know where me mitts have been.
The camera pulls out to reveal this interview is playing on a TV in the home of Sam and Derek. Interior, living room. Derek, a UK transplant now living in the US, sits on the couch watching the news. Sam, his friend and roommate, walks in.
Do I'm gonna be saying, do you have to watch the news all the time? It stresses me out.
I want to be informed.
Well, can we do something else right now then?
Derek sighs and rolls his eyes.
Fine.
He picks up the remote and turns off the TV. Static, then. Exterior, Kroger grocery store in Atlanta. Title, Atlanta, Georgia, USA. A line of people waiting to get into the grocery store stretches down the block. Everyone is standing 6 feet apart and are wearing masks, either real ones or homemade. Duke and Natalie approach the line. They are wearing masks and large sunglasses to hide their identity.
So it's come to this.
I don't like it either. If I'd known the president was going to completely ignore the threat, I would have never given him that drive.
What's done is done. We still need to trace the source of the virus.
And you're sure he's here?
Duke pulls out his phone, which displays a GPS map showing a blinking red dot near the Kroger.
He must be. You see?
Ripple to interior jet, flashback. Flashback to Duke and Natalie on the jet, moments before it was struck by missiles. Duke is looking at the text messages.
When our jet was taken out on our way to the WHO, I had received a mysterious text. Huh, that's mysterious. I didn't want to alarm you or Kook.
The missile strikes the jet, and Natalie and Duke are now falling from the jet.
As we were falling from the jet, I sent the mysterious number a link to my own custom hacking software.
Duke is sending a text to the unknown number with a link.
Click here to see local singles in your area. Honestly, I didn't think it would work.
Natalie grabs Duke and helps him right himself in the air. He slips his phone into his pocket and they pull their chutes. Ripple 2, exterior, Kroger grocery store, present. Back to now. Duke holds his phone up.
That idiot clicked the link, and now I'm able to track his every move. Buckle up, Buttercup.
Natalie did not like that.
Sorry. Buckle up, Dr. Buttercup.
That was better. Duke and Natalie approach the end of the line of people. They attempt to keep the 6-foot distance. Duke is holding up the phone and checking the red dot with each person in line. Natalie follows.
Duke, I think I see something. Up ahead.
Near the front of the line, a person in a red mask is looking at Duke and Natalie and shifting nervously. They don't want to break the social distancing guidelines, but they also don't want to get caught. Duke holds up the phone and zooms in. The red dot beeps wildly in the same position on the map as the red mask.
Get his ass!
The red mask panics and runs past people in line and into the store. The other people in line protest and yell.
No cutting, asshole!
Duke and Natalie chase after Red Mask into the store, still attempting to maintain a 6-foot distance from other people.
The fuck did I just say?
Interior, grocery store. The grocery store is full of people, all maintaining social distancing guidelines. There are orange circles on the ground to indicate where people can stand safely.
Shit, we've lost him.
Natalie and Duke scan the crowd. Nothing at the checkout lanes. Nothing by the flowers. Then Natalie spots someone over by the bakery.
There!
Red Mask turns and sees them and takes off along the back of the store.
Shit!
He chases after Red Mask, avoiding the invisible 6-foot bubbles around every person in the store. He bobs and weaves his way through, racing to the bakery. Natalie splits off and makes her way along the checkout lanes in an attempt to cut off Red Mask. Duke races along the back of the store but can't find Red Mask. He comes to the cereal aisle and spots Natalie at the far end.
Nothing!
Shit!
They stand for a moment and look around. Natalie spots Red Mask in the produce section near a set of swinging doors that lead to the back stock of the store.
I see him! Produce section!
I'll meet you over there.
Natalie takes off. Duke attempts to follow, but there's a person standing in the middle of the aisle, unable to decide what they want. Duke shifts back and forth. How can he get around and still maintain 6 feet of distance? He can't.
Fuck it.
He runs down the aisle, pushing past the indecisive person.
Hey!
He sees Natalie standing by the swinging doors.
This way! Hurry!
She runs through the doors and Duke follows. Interior, Kroger warehouse. Beyond the doors is a massive warehouse. It seems impossible that a space this large could exist in the building, but it does. The lights are dim, making it hard to see. There are long aisles made of tall shelves full of pallets of food. There doesn't appear to be anyone else in this warehouse. As Duke and Natalie walk, their footsteps echo into the cavernous warehouse.
We know you're in here.
Silence. Natalie draws a gun.
We just want to talk.
His voice echoes through the warehouse. More silence. Then, footsteps as a figure darts between aisles. Duke gestures for Natalie to go left. He's going right. They creep down either side of an aisle.
Who sent you?
They creep closer down the aisle. Silence. Natalie is nearing the end of the aisle, Duke on the other side. Behind Duke, the Red Mask steps out from between 2 large pallets of cranberry sauce and pushes a gun into the back of Duke's head. Duke sticks his hands up in the air. Natalie rounds the corner and sees Duke and Red Mask.
Duke!
Don't move, or I'll blow his fucking brains out.
Do what he says, Natalie.
Drop your fucking weapon.
Natalie hesitates.
Do it, Natalie.
She tilts her head slightly.
Drop your fucking weapon.
Duke winks. Natalie slowly lowers her gun to the floor, and then 3 things happen simultaneously. Duke ducks and spins around, pushing Red Mask's hand into the air. Natalie fires her gun, and a bullet pierces Red Mask's calf and punctures several cans of cranberry sauce, causing blood and sauce to pour onto the concrete floor. Red Mask fires their gun as Duke pushes their hand into the air. A bullet hits a rope that is securing a pallet of cans of pasta sauce to an upper shelf. The pallet starts to slip, and cans of sauce come raining down on Red Mask. Red Mask is knocked to the ground by the cans and is lying in a puddle of blood, cranberry sauce, and roasted garlic marinara. Duke kicks Red Mask's gun aside and draws his own weapon as Natalie runs over to them. Duke puts his foot on Red Mask's chest, pinning them down, and points his gun at their head. Natalie takes off Red Mask's red mask to reveal a Chinese spy.
Who do you work for? Who sent you?
Duke! Hi-yo!
The Chinese spy bites down on something and begins to convulse. White foam spills from their mouth.
Shit. Suicide pill.
Natalie pats down the dead spy. She finds an envelope in the spy's pocket. She hands it to Duke. Duke opens the envelope and pulls out an official-looking letter. It is in Chinese.
Damn it! It's in Chinese.
Let me take a look. I took a couple of Chinese classes in high school.
She takes the letter and reads it. She looks at Duke, then back at the letter, then back at Duke, then back at the letter.
What? What is it?
Instructions to kill you. And me.
From who?
President Xi Jinping.
Sound effect. Jet taking off. Wipe 2. Interior. Small plane. Later. Duke and Natalie are in the back of a small plane. Cook is in the pilot seat. All three are wearing headsets so they can speak over the sound of the plane. Natalie holds the letter and is reading from it. Duke is loading his tactical vest with various weaponry. Knives, ammo, grenades, and the like.
Why does she want you deader than the washed out wallaby, mate?
If I'm translating this right, it looks like he's trying to wrap up loose ends.
Oh, I'll give him a loose end he can wrap up all right.
Duke cocks his gun.
Something doesn't add up, though.
You don't think an authoritarian government would be experimenting with biological warfare?
Not that. It's just, I don't know. Something feels off.
The only thing that will be feeling off is Xi's head when I rip it from his body.
Cook and Natalie look disturbed.
Too much?
Outside, the plane flies over the Great Wall. Now, beautiful misty mountains and a lush green forest. Farmland with not a farmer to be seen. And finally, Beijing. The city is empty, no people or cars to be seen. Cook circles the outskirts of the town before flying low and landing in Tiananmen Square, outside the Great Hall of the People. Duke and Natalie exit the plane.
Keep the engine running, Cook. We won't be long.
Good luck in there.
Duke nods. Exterior, Great Hall of the People. Duke and Natalie make their way up to the ornate entrance of the building.
Huh.
What?
Doesn't this seem strange to you?
What do you mean?
There's nobody around.
I prefer it that way.
No, I mean, there's no guards, no security, nobody. Doesn't that strike you as strange?
They must all be at home, like everyone else. We are in the middle of an unprecedented pandemic, Doc.
They have reached the entrance of the Great Hall. They go in. Interior, Great Hall of the People. The grand entryway is dark and silent. Duke and Natalie walk softly through the room and down a side hallway. The artwork on the walls, while glorious and awe-inspiring in the light, looks deeply sinister in the dark. At the end of the hall is a large door, partially cracked open, with an eerie blue glow spilling out. Duke gestures and draws his gun. Natalie draws hers, and the two creep to the door. Inside, they can hear a familiar voice.
We've been tremendous friends to the Chinese. Huge, beautiful friends, okay? So get it done.
Duke and Natalie have reached the door. They peer in to see the office of Xi Jinping. A large office with an ornate desk and large chair. Various ancient swords, knives, and daggers line the walls of the office, along with various portraits of Xi. Behind the desk is a huge screen displaying the damp orange face of President Trump. We can't see who is in the chair as it is facing the screen. The image of Trump clicks off, switching to an imposing picture of Xi Jinping. Xi begins a slow clap. Duke and Natalie enter the office and approach Xi's desk. They keep a wary distance.
Excellent work, Duke Knuckles. Very excellent.
What's he saying?
Natalie gives a half shrug.
You'll be doing things that one could consider bad. Us have arrived to, you must stop the things that could be considered bad.
Xi spins around in his chair. He is wearing a red polo shirt tucked into high-waisted khaki slacks. He kind of looks like a popular cartoon bear.
It seems Dr. Fatality isn't quite the genius I was led to believe.
What's he saying?
In Chinese, smartness am I! So much smartness!
Xi stands suddenly.
Enough! I've had it with you Americans.
Finally!
Have you come to kill me, Duke Knuckles?
Absolutely.
Duke raises his gun.
Duke, wait! Why, Xi? Why would you do this?
Xi begins to laugh.
You think I did this?
He picks up a remote and presses a button. Behind him, the screen displays footage of Wuhan at the beginning of the COVID outbreak. Doctors rushing to help dying patients, people panicking in the streets, rioting and looting, etc.
We found your spy. We read the letter. You released this virus into the world. Why?
You overestimate your skills, Dr. Fatality. I didn't release the virus, no. Oh, no. The Chinese people were an unfortunate casualty of American arrogance. You see...
Ripple 2, exterior, American military base in Wuhan. A general, escorted by several soldiers, brings a steel case to a panel of military doctors.
2019 marked the 50th anniversary of your American moon landing. What many people do not know is that your astronauts brought back many things from the moon, including a new type of coronavirus.
The military doctors open the case, revealing several aged vials of a yellow gooey liquid. One of the doctors covertly slips a vial into his pocket.
Your President Trump claims it was an accident.
Exterior, wet market. A military doctor is ordering food from a stall. He reaches into his pocket to pull out his wallet, and the vial of the virus tumbles out, shattering on the ground. A yellow cloud of vapor spreads from the broken vial and into the air.
You'd have to be completely incompetent to release a dangerous disease accidentally.
Interior, Xi's office. Xi clicks off the screen.
I will admit, though, we tried to keep the virus a secret. We need the close relationship with your government. But you two just had to interfere, didn't you?
Your virus killed my Lydia, my one true love.
Your virus, your virus. You Americans gave us this virus.
A moment.
So, are we doing this?
Duke clenches his jaw and fires his gun. Xi leaps into the air. The bullet pierces the chair and breaks the screen. Xi does several somersaults and lands on Duke's gun. He kicks Duke in the face. This is very much a 70s kung fu fight. Natalie fires at Xi, who is moving too quickly. Xi lands on the ground next to Duke and high kicks his gun out of his hand. It flies across the room, hitting Natalie's gun, which also goes flying. Duke pulls out a knife and slashes at Xi, who bobs and weaves, avoiding the blade. Natalie charges Xi, who spins out of the way, causing Natalie to crash into the wall. She knocks down a gleaming sword and picks it up. Duke and Natalie circle Xi in the middle of the office. Duke lunges at Xi, who grabs Duke and flips over his back. Xi kicks Duke behind the knee and Duke drops to the ground. Natalie swings the sword at Xi, just barely grazing his arm. A tiny bit of blood comes from the small wound. Xi looks at it and then back at Natalie. He smiles approvingly. Xi charges at Natalie. Duke attempts to intercept, but Xi leaps over him. Xi lands in front of Natalie, who stabs at him with a sword. Xi spins around and chops her neck. She collapses to the floor, unconscious.
No! You son of a bitch!
Duke rushes at Xi. Xi easily sidesteps Duke, who crashes into the desk. Duke turns around and Xi is directly in front of him.
Good night, Duke Knuckles.
Xi chops Duke's neck. Fade to black. In the dark.
You know what happened next. I woke up, tied to a chair, and beat the shit out of the goons. I think we're all caught up now.
Interior, sub-basement. And here we are, back at the beginning. Duke is facing down several goons who have just rushed into the room.
Right on cue.
Interior, sub-basement hallway, moments later. We hear the last of the goons collapse to the floor. Duke steps over a couple in the doorway as he exits the room. He cautiously makes his way down the hallway and stops. He can hear something around the corner. He readies himself and leaps around the corner to see Natalie, choking a goon who passes out.
Natalie, thank God.
Surprised to see me?
No, where are we?
I'm not sure.
The two look around and see an elevator at the end of the hall.
After you.
Natalie rolls her eyes. The two walk down the hallway to the elevator. There is one button on the panel. They push it. The doors ding open and Duke and Natalie step inside. Unlike the concrete hallway, this elevator has blue and gold carpet. It seems familiar. They look around the elevator. There are no buttons, no control panel, no signage or anything else that might give them a clue as to where they are. The doors close and the elevator begins to ascend.
Going up?
The elevator comes to a stop and the doors open. They step into a familiar-looking hallway. Interior, West Wing hallway.
No, it can't be.
They walk down the empty hallway. They can't believe it.
Duke, this way.
She points into a room. It is the antechamber of the Oval Office. They enter and slowly approach the door. They open it. Interior, Oval Office. Duke and Natalie enter the office where President Trump sits at the Resolute desk, finishing up a Big Mac and large Coke. He is sweatier than ever. His breathing is very labored, and there is a redness to his face underneath the orange spray tan.
Those were some of my best men, you know. Don't worry. I'll send you a bill.
You son of a bitch. How could you?
What? I'm a businessman.
Not that! The virus! Hundreds of thousands will die because of you!
Fake.
You've gone too far this time.
Nasty, nasty woman. You're very mean, very nasty.
Natalie looks as if she is about to rip his heart out of his chest.
Did you see me on Janine? Now there's a nice woman, very kind, said some nice things about me. Not my type, but I see the appeal.
We know everything. You won't get away with this.
Trump stands. It takes some effort.
You might have beaten my men, but I'll still kick your ass.
Trump goes to tackle Duke. Duke and Natalie brace themselves. Trump takes 2 steps before crying out. He claws at his chest and then keels over the Resolute desk. Duke and Natalie look confused. Duke approaches Trump and flips him over onto his back. Trump's eyes are bloodshot and glassy. A little bit of bile is leaking from the corners of his mouth, and crusty snot is leaking from his nose. He is beginning to turn pale.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Natalie hits Trump in the face.
Wake up! Wake up, you sick son of a bitch, and fight me!
Natalie continues to hit Trump. It's no use. Trump's hateful heart has finally given out. His arteries could handle it no more. Trump is dead.
Natalie, stop. Stop. It's over. He's dead.
He pulls Natalie away from Trump.
So that's it? He just gets off scot-free?
Not entirely. We'll know. We can tell the world what happened.
History will remember him for the monster he is.
She spits on Trump's corpse. Duke and Natalie leave the Oval Office. On the way out, she turns off the lights. Cut to black. Various. In the dark.
Natalie and I took the story to the press, but without any hard proof, they wouldn't report on it.
We see Xi Jinping putting his office back together.
We tried in vain to get President Xi Jinping to corroborate the conspiracy, but he refused to go on the record. The virus turned out to be beneficial for him, and he used the crackdown to solidify his power over the Chinese people.
Shots of Jacinda Ardern handing out supplies to people.
There were bright spots, though. Communities rallied together to help their most vulnerable members.
Sam and Derek are kissing on the couch.
People who were quarantined together discovered something new about themselves.
Natalie and Justin are in the lab again, working on a vaccine.
Doctors Natalie Fatality and Justin Case are working on a vaccine. They've nearly cracked it.
Kook is walking up to the cottage where the Swiss maid awaits him.
Kook thinks he's finally found his true love and is giving up his life of adventure for something more domestic.
Duke is at Lydia's grave, placing flowers.
And as for me, well, the next time a deadly virus rears its ugly head...
He stands up and pulls out a packet from his jacket pocket. It is labeled COVID-20 Preliminary Reports, Top Secret.
You can bet your sweet ass I'll be there.
Duke hops into a Camaro and puts on a pair of dope shades.
I was never one for retirement.
He drives off. The end.
Yay!
Hey.
Good job, guys! Woo!
Fucking COVID-20.
Work, Shull.